Hey everyone, and welcome to Cricut Time. Subscribe to see new videos each week with project ideas and tutorials on all things Cricut. For today's tutorial, I will show you some tips and tricks you can use right away to make your next cardstock project a success. For this tutorial, I will be making a wedding card with multiple layers, but you can apply these same steps to any cardstock project. I will also show you how to use pens and markers in your machine in this tutorial as well. I found this project right in Design Space, ready to go in the Community Projects section. Just click on See More and search Wedding Card. I'll scroll down, and here it is. I'll start out by cutting my cardstock to size. For cards, 65-pound cardstock works the best. If you go any heavier, the card will be really stiff. If you go any lighter, it will be too flimsy. I have a lot of pieces that I'm working with today, so I'll cut out all the cardstock and a piece of vinyl as well. The mat that often comes with your machine is a blue mat. The blue mat is good for cutting delicate paper, up to about regular printer paper. If you find that your paper is not getting clean cuts, or has little rips and tears along the way, the problem might not be your blade, but actually your mat. The easiest way to fix this is to use a stickier mat. Move up to a clean green mat to solve this problem. If you have a well-used green mat, you might just need to clean it to restore it to its former stickiness. If you are making multiple different cuts on different pieces of paper, you can save time by sticking more than one to a mat. This is easy to do. When you are in the mat view in Design Space, if you have a mat like this one, where there's only one little piece that's going to be cut out, just click on these three little dots, move object, and choose which mat you want it to go on. And then you just have to move the pieces where you want to cut them out. I always do the corners, so it's easy to figure out where to put the paper. There is one more thing I can do to prevent little tears. This is a brayer, and I can use it to help stick the paper down smoothly and uniformly to the mat. For this card, I will be adding in some writing, and I will be using a marker from this Ultimate Fine Point set. Before I load my mat, I need to get my Maker 3 ready. The first step will involve doing the drawing and adding in the fold line for the card. For the fold line, I'll be using my debossing tool today. You can also use a scoring wheel or a scoring stylus for this step. I'll just load this into Clamp B. I also have my fine point marker, and I'll load this into Clamp A. When you're using these markers, push down until you hear the click. Now I can load in my mat, and my Maker 3 can do these steps. Design Space will prompt you when it's time to switch out your blade. I'll take this one out and replace it with a fine point blade. And I'm done with the marker, so I'll take that out too. For mat 2, I'll put in this gray marker and cut those out. For cardstock, I like to take my lifter tool and check that my design is cut all the way through before I unload the mat from the machine. If you ever find any spots still stuck together, just press the cut button again and run it through another time. All of my pieces are cut out. To take the cardstock off the mat, I'll flip the mat upside down and roll the mat away from the paper. The cardstock comes off of the larger areas pretty easily, but for the smaller cuts, you can use your lifter tool to help take it off smoothly. If you have any little pieces that are stuck to your mat when you're done, just use your scraper to scrape them off. This design is complex and has a little bit of vinyl as well as cardstock. I'll just weed the background and then transfer this to some transfer tape. Now I have all the pieces ready to assemble. I'll start by folding this in half on the line and use my scraper to make a crisp fold. For cards, I like to use Mod Podge. It holds everything together nicely and dries clear without too much shine. Now I can stick everything down into place. First is the blue square, then the heart cutout, and then the other heart. Now I can get the words ready. It can be a bit tricky lining up vinyl perfectly in one go, so I'll use the parchment paper trick instead. Just place your vinyl on a piece of parchment paper with a little bit of the vinyl sticking out on top. You can see through it, so you can line the design up onto the cardstock. Then when it's just right, stick down the exposed vinyl. This part will keep everything in place, so you can carefully remove the parchment paper and just put the vinyl back down into place. Use the scraper to stick it down, then pull off the transfer tape. Now I can glue this and stick it on my card. This little blue rectangle says all the happiness in the world, but the lines on the paper make it kind of hard to read on camera. I might switch this out before I give this to the couple, but I wanted to leave it in this video so you can learn from my mistake and choose plain paper instead of a patterned paper if you're going to add writing to it. Now I can assemble the finishing touches. I am making 2 3D butterflies, so I'll fold them in half and then stick the smaller layer on top of the larger layer. I want the wings to stick out without being glued together, so I'll only use a thin layer of Mod Podge right in the middle. I'll use my weeder tool to help push down only the very middle. These butterflies are ready, so I'll use my tweezers to help stick them on the card without squishing the wings down. Well, there you go. This multi-layer card is all done. I hope you learned a few tricks and that your next cardstock project is a success. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more project ideas and tutorials on all things Cricut.